didn't like how you could say we can all be nice. I can't be nice. I'm always horrible.
You're the opposite. From the other room, you radiate wanker.
I don't know how I have friends. I'm literally just awful all the time. I don't know how
It's basically Stockholm syndrome, I think.
So I'm looking forward to this podcast, actually, because I like guitar solos. So like someone in our midst.
Yeah, I think that's...
I will explain. There's two main things I really dislike about it.
Yeah, I'm hoping you're going to explain.
David Mitchell.
I cannot wait to disagree with you on this.
Please mansplain to us.
No,
let's not go through it now.
One of them you won't disagree with. One of them you will, but the other one you won't disagree with. There's one reason why I hate guitar solos, which is it's an actual fact that it's impossible to disagree with.
Oh, no. No. Actually, no, let's not do this. Let's not do this now before we hit record.
Yeah. It's already recording.
Okay. Oh, right.
Greetings to all you cacophants tuning into this, the 6th episode of the Cacophony Sessions Season 4. Welcome to Shredder's Revenge, or just Axin questions. No, it's not an episode dedicated to turtle power. We haven't quite reached sewer level entertainment just yet. No, it's our much anticipated guitar solos episode, and I will be your host for this evening, Golden Electric Pump, aka Down Whittle.
Electric?
Tonight we'll be tapping into our guitar brains for our 8 favourite guitar shredding moments in all of music. My experience on the guitar is rather limited. I once filled in for one of my co-hosts after he had too many sherries. Alas, I can only play a G chord. Now, as much of an undeniable banger, the song we composed that day, G, could have been, it was not a hit. But these guitar-driven sounds definitely were. Helping me tell my whammy bars from my wham bars for this one will be my friends, nay, colleagues, Alex.
If you were a burger at McDonald's, you'd be my most gorgeous.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Wow. That's a new name.
Tumbleweed.
Martin?
Hi, I'm Martin. Why couldn't the string composers, the string quartet find... Fuck, I've ruined that one.
This is what I think is my favourite part. Every podcast, my favourite part is always your intro. Hi, I'm Martin, and there are light bulbs in my room. Has anyone got any light bulbs? I've got light bulbs. Oh, fuck it. It doesn't matter.
Okay, but one liner. Did you hear about the light bulb that wasn't in my room? No, I don't like them. I don't have them anymore.
He does feel like being illuminated.
This is bad. You guys need to do better picking up one-liners. And Tom.
I'm Tom, and this is an episode that I really shouldn't be on.
Maybe. We'll find out.
You'll see. I'm going to get kicked off. I won't last till the end.
You may have seen the news that by now, yes, we do have a brand new website. No more wordy WordPress links and sounding off esoteric social media accounts like a malfunctioning grifter. Russell Brand. You only need to remember one thing now. cacophonysessions.com, containing links to everything cacophonous. Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, the Patreon, where you can show me some green and I'll extend our time on screen. And you can even play all the undeniable bangers directly in your browser tab, even if you don't have Apple Music. I can't slip it to you any easier than that. I'll let you know in a little bit about the sweet, sweet content that I'll be putting on there shortly. But first, don't you hate a podcast where the jingles are crap? So let's take a good song and ask, does it slap?
Don't you hate a podcast where the jingles are crap? So let's take a good song and ask, does it slap?
Can I put Zero by Smashing Pumpkins on?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I'm going to pass that.
It's not the best song, but it might be the best riff.
It's a beaut.
I can't pass it.
What?
I don't love it. I think it's okay.
Oh, man. Oh, it does slap, though.
It does slap hard.
Yeah, man.
Okay, you guys have a crack. The song that should go through.
Oh, Destination Unknown by Missing Persons.
No.
What?
Yeah.
You say you know your new wave? Oh, fuck me. Go and listen to it.
I never said that.
Dan, you'll love it. But listen to it after the podcast. It's an amazing song.
But that's it. Undeniable means everyone's heard it. That's part of the rules.
I'll have to stick it on my later base.
The later base.
Later base.
Should we have a third crack?
Yeah, come on, Fry.
Oh God, it's got to be something that you will know
Yes,
as
it
well.
does.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to just like really heavy stuff lately. What am I going to go with?
Chumbawamba. Oh, get knocked
looking at
down.
my-
Get up again.
Something you've all heard of as well. Because I'd want to do like Dialogue on the Two by Susie Apero, and none of you will know it.
Yes.
But
Can we accept this as Tom's voided his pick?
that's it. Okay, we're going Painkiller by Turin Brakes. And
Yes.
you do know it.
Yeah, it's
You just
beautiful.
know you
Yeah,
know
I
it.
know it.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
have
good song.
no idea what it is.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Put it on and you'll know it straight away, Al. Stick it on
Like,
Spotify. You'll know you know it
Napster.
on Napster.
Wasn't it one of your choices for that 2003 episode?
It was,
Yeah, but
but
everyone
it didn't make the list.
everyone should have
so
listened
now
to
we
it.
get to talk about it.
Painkiller's Judas Priest in my head.
Fun fact about Turin Brakes. I had free drinks for life in the
I've heard the
JSV
song.
for a while. Yes, I know. You listened to it for the 2003 episode.
Yeah, no. Shit.
We knew you wouldn't like it. So Turin Brakes, I used to play open mic nights at JSV years ago, and the owner's son was behind the bar. I played a Turin Brakes song at open mic night, and he was like, "That's my favourite band, and that's my favourite album. That song's off." He was like, "If you can play every song on that album, I'll give you free drinks for life." So I played every song off their 2001 album, The Optimist LP, and then they sold the bar 2 weeks later. So I had free drinks for 2 weeks. It's a high 9.5, if not a 10 out of 10 album. And I think mine will
100%,
back
it's
me
a
up.
10
on
out of
it.
10 for me. That album came out exactly around the time when music went dead for a while, in that kind of late 90s thing where it was all about Keane and Coldplay and Travis and all that bullshit. I fucking hated.
This is literally your peak of music.
Ah, fuck off. Anyway, that album came out.
No, I can have the compliment. That's what you're here for.
Yeah.
It's like I peaked it in 2004.
Yeah.
That's what you're here
But
for.
anyway, that album came out and it was the one that stood out from the rest as actually being authentic sounding. It was beautiful. And I rinsed that album
Yeah. It won the Mercury Music Prize.
quite
didn't it,
rightly.
in
And it's an
2001, I
amazing
think.
album.
It doesn't qualify
Yeah.
though because Al doesn't like it.
No.
So I'm going to step in
Yeah.
here and have a go as well. I'm going to go for Iron Man by Black Sabbath.
Yes. Easy. Not even
No.
close.
No.
Not even close.
No,
How can you not like Iron Man by Black Sabbath?
it is one of the most boring riffs ever written.
Yeah, but you've got
It's
to
like the
remember at
first
the time
riff
it was
ever
groundbreaking.
It's not on their first album, right?
No, it's the second album. It's on Paranoid.
Yeah. So it's not even the first time they've made that sort of riff.
I know enough an argument right now. I will say I strongly disagree. It
I mean,
is a
weirdly,
fucking
if you're
tune.
going to go if you were going for a Black Sabbath song and you went War Pigs,
Okay, no, I'm not doing this. We are being civil. That's a very nice opinion you have, Tom. I look forward
I don't like
to
it, I don't
discussing
like
this
it.
with you in person. Fuck off, though.
yeah, no,
Fuck me, that's a good song.
I would also say Planet Caravan as
No,
well.
I don't
love
like
that
that one. I've never liked that song.
I think that album is a 10.
Unfortunately. I know, I love them, but I've never liked their softer stuff. Okay, one more. Let's go with DJ Sammy, Castles in the Sky.
No, it's horrible.
Oh,
It's a
come
yes for me.
on.
It's an abomination.
I would actually have let you have
Do
that.
you build castles in the sky? Oh,
It
tell
is a
me.
tune.
It's a fucking banger. I don't care how
Yeah.
much into your rock music you are. If you're a club and you hear that, you're in.
All right, fine. Stevie Wonder Superstition.
Yeah, that's in. Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's in.
yeah.
That is in. That's a good song.
No one can argue that.
No.
Yeah, there we go.
DJ Sammy.
Finally, undeniable banger. There we go.
Mm.
Welcome to the list, Stevie. In terms of news, as I mentioned, we got the website up and running, cacophonysessions.com. It has links to everything, so you can see all the video episodes that we produce, all the audio episodes. It's an undeniable bangers page, which you can listen to the playlist in order. We'll be adding Stevie Wonder
That
Superstition.
must be quite eclectic, that playlist by now.
It is a very eclectic playlist, so go check that out on the website. All I've been doing is editing videos. The Slam and 7 for Wham's doing quite well, so go check that out. I've also interviewed Dean Fairhurst, aka Standing Man, already up on the YouTube channel. I've also been at a couple of gigs. This is where I met Dean Fairhurst. I went to see Vintage Trouble, one of my favourites of the last sort of 10 years, 15 years. Blues rock with elements of soul and funk in it. I like them, and they were supported by Standing Man. So great gig there. Go check out that video to find out a little bit more about them. I also was Wembley Stadium, where I saw Chris Jericho's band, Fozzy, play to 81,000 people
That's
as he
fucking
walked to
awful.
the ring. Fozzy aren't great, but that was good
They're
fun.
not great. I like Chris Jericho more than most people, and there's no way his band's good.
Yeah, I do like Judas though. I think it's a catchy song and it's a lot of fun in a live setting. So that was kind of a gig. Other things that I've been doing, I've actually been going through the 1001 albums to listen to Before You Die, edited by Robert Dimery. I've completed all the albums from the 50s, so I've been listening to a lot of 50s music. That's been interesting. In terms of upcoming releases, it was also news that Prince's Diamonds and Pearls is getting the Super Deluxe treatment on October the 27th. So make sure you order that, because I'll definitely be dropping a video in reference to the special edition and all the unreleased tracks that are going to be made available for the first time. Plus there's some Blu-ray content as well, and I'm looking forward to that.
I've got to ask, in that big book of albums you need to listen to, was there Immortal Sons of Northern Darkness?
I doubt it. That wouldn't be in the 1950s.
It's all good music.
No, it's not all the 50s. I just finished the albums from the 50s, so I'm moving on to the 60s. What has everyone else been up to? What have we been listening to?
I'm not going to show my drum kit on the recording, but that should be for the paid extras, because it is pure sex. I cannot wait. At the end of this month, actually, I'm getting it, because I work for All Mail, and because we've literally conceded all the things we struck for, I get a really bad holiday scheme, slightly better pay, but a £1,400 before tax thing. So I get to get Zilton custom A's at the end of this month. And I'm well happy about that. I'm going to have some quality symbols for my band, which hasn't really got a name yet. Currently it's Why Lizards. Why?
Why Lizards? Why? Or just Why Lizards?
Why Lizards? Force. Why?
Is that a reference to that sketch from Jam where
No, because I actually wanted to call
loads
our
of
band
lizards
Mr.
coming out of the TV?
That's such a good sketch.
I wanted to call our band Mr. Lizard. It didn't go down well, but we had outside of band practice, we had a what the fuck are we going to call moment. So we went on to Chat, the AI program, Chat. Is it Chat?
GPT.
Yeah, anyway,
Chat
whatever.
GPT, yeah.
So we went on that. We spent our 4 credits on good band names. And one of them just happened to be Why Lizards? Why? And we
is there a comma in it?
Yes, there is a comma. We found it hilarious. So that's not a band name, but every time I have to tell that to someone, it's becoming more and more of this is a shit band name sort of thing. Listening wise, I've listened to a lot of Converge. I've listened to a lot of the Wild Hearts, and I've listened to a lot of Lit. And I'm not doing a new album thing. I'm just doing what I previously like. And I'm listening to a lot of it right now.
Wild Hearts have got a new album coming out, I think. I'm sure I saw that in the news.
Well, the last song was 2022 because I heard it this year and I didn't realize it came out last year. So for last year's album of the year, I probably would put a Wild Hearts in.
Tom, I want to segue in now because since we last recorded, I went to Arctangent and saw Converge.
How were they?
I bet they were good as usual. I've never seen them.
They were fantastic, but I did leave halfway through to go and watch Sugar Horse.
Did they play their new shit album?
Chelsea Wolfe wasn't there, so they only played heavy stuff.
So you literally went to this is actually what we are. This is our
they went for because Converge played there 2017, I think, and I saw them there then, and they just played heavy as balls stuff. They just old stuff.
That reminds me actually because talking about Converge, I did listen 2 weeks ago to, is it Mr. Mutoid?
Mutoid Man.
There it is. Yeah, I listened because my band recommended a new album to me, and I did quite enjoy it. But
I was really surprised that they didn't. I was really surprised Mutoid Man didn't play at Arctangent because they had Converge and Cave In were both there, so we were very surprised Mutoid Man didn't play as well.
Was it both?
Yes,
I don't know much about them. I got recommended them, and they instantly it was basically Converge riffs. But almost on pop rock melodies.
I'm pretty sure Mutoid Man's the guy from Cave In as well. I think it's all Stephen Brodsky. They were a little bit disappointing at Arctangent, but they're pretty good. My highlight of the weekend at Arctangent was seeing Liturgy live. They were absolutely mind-blowing live. It's so heavy. I have never seen anything that heavy in my life.
How's the new drummer?
Really good. Really, it's really loud, and I am the only one of. I think James quite enjoyed them, but other than me and James, everyone else was just like, "No, we're out." It's really intense.
Oh fuck off! That band's insane. Hold on, did they do their metal stuff, or did they also do the weird noise? They had a few albums
it's just the metal stuff, and they metalled up the new albums. They opened with Generation off the new album, but heavy, and oh my god, it was like a religious experience watching that. It's just like a wall of noise just washes over you. It was absolutely incredible. They were so good. They were so good. And I think 93696 will be on my album of the year list.
I'm enjoying this because me and Tommy are talking about a band we both like, and you two get to for once go, who the fuck is this band? You just make up funk legends. Tipsy Bogart. I don't know. You just make up shit. I had to go.
He was Humphrey Bogart's cousin.
Yeah, it's Jack C. Williams. Like, I have to go, that might be a person.
Are you aware with people just having names?
We talk about blackmail people and just enjoy it.
I tell you who else played. Death Heaven played Sunbather in full. Yeah? That was good. Yeah, although they had loads of technical problems, but it was really good. That was really good. It was basically Arctangent this year was really heavy.
Watching their drummer play live is literally like watching a guy who blast beats, looks for a fill just to rest. His fills are rests. And his rests are like more intensive than anything else going on.
They were really good. Who else had? There were loads of bands. I was watching bands the whole time. Highland. If you want something really weird, go and watch Highland play live.
I don't want anything weird.
It's like Scandinavian folk, but it's not metal. Oh, and Igor are a band that everybody should definitely check out. Igor were absolutely fantastic live. I think it's like carnival metal. It's incredible. That was Arctangent. I'm moving on, Dan.
No, I'm just confused by carnival metal.
Metal is.
Yeah.
Don't we wishy-washy? Who do they sound like?
So they have like an opera singer.
No, done. Fuck off. Rock, death, rock, no, done.
Just go on Spotify and look at Igor with 3 R's and just put on a track. Just put one on. Incredible.
I'm not an opera singer in my metal or rock. No way.
For carnival metal, I'm just imagining the music from Casino Night Zone in Sonic 2, but played on a guitar.
No. I've got it on in my headphones right now. It's much cleverer than that. Igor is a French DJ who gets loads of like metal musicians in with him. I think the drummer he's got playing with him is the drummer from Architects.
Oh, he's quite good. He's better than me, but everyone's better than me.
Yeah. Basically, excuse my dog being a dickhead from my
He disagrees with your terrible opinion too.
He's too heavily into carnival metal.
You were agreeing with me.
I was talking about Converge and talking about operatic rock. I'm like, nah. I don't want to listen to them. I don't care how good they are. I'm not listening. It's opera singing.
It's not.
With rock music. Fuck right off.
It's not.
When you say opera, you don't mean literal opera singing.
Literal opera singing, but not. It's not what you think. You need to check it out. Man.
No way.
They're a band that
not
everybody used to hear.
Shit.
Anyway, so that was Arctangent. Since then, Foreign Voices will have our record. The 2 EPs that will have been released by the time this comes out have been pressed on vinyl. So hopefully we'll have Black Marble vinyl coming. We can probably link them from the Cacophony Sessions website. So please buy the record because I've had to pay to get it pressed and I need my money back because I'm skint.
As the guys the usual hater, they sound really good. Just honestly, listen.
Oh yeah, Al came to see us.
I didn't come to see you. I was very drunk and I yelled abuse because punk rock, fuck it. But yeah, these guys are a good, really good band. Not just good. I feel like they could be signed. That's how good I think they are.
Thanks, Al.
But as my brother said, you need catchier songs. I feel like you need a stronger chorus.
We're working on that. We're writing all the time.
It wasn't me, I was my brother.
Just do a cover of Hey Mickey, you'll be fine.
I feel like we need more Martin. He's actually the unsung hero in the band.
Oh, wow, man. I'm humbled.
Yeah.
Thank you, Al.
We've got Ian and Tom writing the music, but we've got the Martin Jang along. He jangs along. He does it well.
Thanks, man. That means a lot, dude.
He's pure of him.
Yeah. And final thing I've been up to, I'm actually a pianist. I play bass in Foreign Voices, but I'm actually a classical pianist and I accompany for theatre companies. And so for the last year, I've been playing piano for Plymouth Gilbert and Sullivan Society, which is one of the oldest amateur theatre companies in the world. And they're doing their 100th anniversary show, 200 people. There's like military wives choir and like kids companies and stuff. And we're doing a one night only thing at the Theatre Royal.
England.
Plymouth Theatre Royal. And in England Plymouth, not US Plymouth. I've got to go on stage and play a piece of 1930 swing that is 190 BPM. So I'm going to fucking crash and burn. And I've been rehearsing for 18 hours a week because I'm the main accompanist. So I have to go to all the rehearsals and work a full-time job. Then I'm going to crawl into a hole and die. Might come back a few weeks later.
Martin,
I've been cycling around, working in lots.
Yeah.
I haven't really listened to much new music. What I do is now I live right next to Outland Road now, right? So I like to lie on the grass verge and listen to the sound of hissing traffic. Now, this is interesting. Bear with me. So there I was one night enjoying that. And I was just chilling out, listening to the drone of cars going past. And this Vauxhall Astra GTE from 1989 Baphomet was fucking driving. And I didn't have enough time.
Fuck. What?
I know, right?
No.
He's in the same town, but still refusing to answer my calls or my emails.
he's still using L plates when he's clearly learnt already.
Right. He was an L
That
plate.
is elusive. That is elusive.
Yeah.
He's not going to Ferrari. Baphomet's got fucking...
An Astra GTE from 1989.
That is elusive.
I know,
That
right?
is. That elusive bastard.
Well, the thing is with Baphomet, he wants to blend in and be the grey man, but he also wants to be a little bit unique by having a classic cut. You've got to give him that.
Like, he pulls up by a Domino's and just gets a few souls.
Yeah, and
then just drives off.
He's very charming to the lady in the McDonald's drive-thru up at Crown Hill, by the way, apparently. I went up there to get a
Look,
McBurger.
they're always wondering,
And,
why is my drive-through staff getting their soul sucked out? What's that about?
They love it. They
Down.
love getting the soul sucked out by Baphomet, man.
We have his Astra turn up, and then they just collapse. They're still breathing, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, they love it.
Just Baphomet.
I love it. But anyway,
Originally, we were going to have Jim and Dan B on the episode. We are going to run through 8 songs tonight in full, but we will cover Dan's and Jim's picks. But thank you to everyone who has on Facebook and on X sent us their suggestions for the greatest guitar solos. So we've had from Dan Lawson on Facebook. I swear this podcast is just the Den podcast. Everyone's called Dan. He suggested Tornado of Souls by Megadeth.
Yeah. I've got written down on my list of things we should have put down. You, sir, are a legend.
A great guitar solo.
Marty Freeman is one of the best guitarists of the fucking 80s and thrash metal in general.
Absolutely
Unfortunately,
agree.
he went a bit mad.
absolutely
Left
great.
Megadeth and went to Japan and just...
Marty
Marty
Friedman.
Freeman, he's such good fucking riff maker.
He's one of the greatest metal soloists of all time.
We are not overlooking this solo
No.
because this is iconic as fucking the metal scene.
I'm going to do this, and then when I say I don't like stuff, people can realise why. I hate guitar solos, and there are 2 reasons why I hate guitar solos.
'Cause you're wrong.
You are wrong.
One of them.
There are 2 main reasons. One we're going to talk about live, okay? So, if you go and watch a 4-piece band live, and most guitar solos come after the chorus of a song. So you've just had 2 guitars kicking it through the chorus, and then one of the guitars stops playing the heavy riff that they were playing to wank a solo out. So you get this like sonic drop. We have this problem in our band where you've got 2 guitars that are playing a riff and then one wants to add a solo over the top. So the other stuff has to get boosted up. But that isn't the same as having 2 guitars playing. It's one guitar boosted up. So having a sonic drop out, if you're soloing over a riff that's already been in the song with 2 guitars playing it, it's gonna sound worse. And it always does. Live. On record, a lot of bands get round it by just multi-tracking. Pumpkins, on some of their tracks, have got like 60 guitar lines running at once. So there's never a sonic drop underneath a solo when they play it on the record.
A guitar solo is like a vocal solo. You need to have the space for a guitar solo to shine through. And so you can hear the solo clearly. You can hear
And no, you guys are talking like a guitar solo as part of the music and not part of the whole song. I would say guitar solo is up there. It's basically like let's say you have 2 verses, and then you have the third verse is the guitar solo.
Yes.
Like the whole melody. It doesn't matter if it cuts because the entire melody, the entire verse is the solo.
the guitar solo is almost like the second vocalist, like the lead vocalist.
It's not there just to wank for wank's sake.
It definitely
It's
isn't.
there to...
They're definitely not
Yeah.
wanked off.
But there are a lot of, the other reason I hate guitar solos then is that a lot of them are completely superfluous. They don't carry a message particularly.
Oh,
I mean, very
God, you're
difficult
so
to
wrong.
demonstrate a non-verbal message.
Very wrong.
I kind of agree with Tom on this. There's a lot of bands that go, okay, we've got fuck all to do for the third verse, bung a solo on it.
There is.
That's basically
Yeah,
what we're talking
exactly.
There
about.
is,
And
but
I
there's
hate
so many,
that.
there's so
I
many,
hate
there's
that.
so many songs that do the opposite. There's something needs to happen here that is more interesting than the first two verses. Something that takes the song out.
Well,
of
just
it.
have a breakdown. You don't
What-
have to have
yeah,
a solo.
But
And
the
the other thing
breakdown
is,
is not always that interesting.
how many guitar solos are just?
Listen to Cherub Rock, man.
I find a breakdown
The
more
solo,
interesting.
the solo in Cherub Rock
Yeah,
takes that song into the stratosphere, to use your favourite band, right? That
but
solo.
it does on
if you took
drop
if
out
that song,
underneath it because it's got 45 guitar
No,
lines.
Have you had
It
Tom
does
and
though.
Martin disagree?
yeah, we'd totally disagree.
I've never seen this. This is actually quite new.
If that song didn't have that guitar solo, it wouldn't be as good a song, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
I'm with Martin.
See,
on
for
this.
me, most of the time, guitar solos don't have a message to them. A lot of the time, guitarists are just playing scales, usually a blues
I
or a
don't know what
pentatonic
you're
scale,
listening
which
to,
I
man, but that's so
instantly
not
hate.
true.
Every single Dragon Force song
Oh,
uses
we're
a
using
pentatonic
Dragon
solo.
Force now.
Every single
Oh,
Dragon
that's a
Force
bad
song.
example.
Well, yeah, most
I
of
like
these.
Dragon
Right,
Force.
it's not a bad
But a
example.
good example.
I've seen Dragon
I'll
Force
give a good
live
example.
twice,
AC/DC. Everyone waits for the solo.
all in
Beautiful.
a blues scale.
Beautiful.
Hate it.
It's perfect.
So your issue is more a blues
I
scale.
hate-
So
I
your
hate
issue
that
isn't
You don't like
I
your
hate
issue isn't
it.
the solo, it's
Yeah.
the what scale they play.
No,
also the
slightly,
White
yeah.
Stripes,
So-
Queens of the Stone Age, in fact, the Foo Fighters.
I hate all of it. Or hate
They're
all their
amazing.
solos. I love their songs, and all their songs are made worse by a solo. Like
So
I
wrong,
find
man.
the blue anything involving that sort of blues scale where you're just running up
Right.
and down a scale is just. it's
I feel like
interesting.
for me, okay, when a band's got a real absolute knee slapper of a song going, right? I always feel like a guitar solo is almost like a cherry on top of it. Like when the band is so ahead of itself musically, they've got a few good choruses and that, but then you need an extra level to go to, and it's almost like an explosion of musicality.
It's like
where
the song takes
yeah,
off.
yeah, like, it's just
Yeah.
exactly. It's like
yeah,
another
it's just-
lyrics. It just takes off. It's almost like an explosion of what we're already doing, but even exceeding it.
It's an
It's
expression.
basically equivalent.
It's possible
It's
to do.
the equivalent of a
There are
key
bands that
change,
do
aren't
that
they?
better
Like-
without solos.
I
without
think the wrong
solos.
word
And
to
I know
use
Paul
there is
thinks
better.
so, like-
I don't think better. I just think different.
I should also point out a little bit is that its duration has a large
Now we're getting on
thing to
another
do
tack.
with it. So no. So Rage Against the Machine, most of their guitar solos are about 20
They're
seconds
very
long
simple
or
and
less.
straightforward.
That, for me, I'm okay with it. It's when a band does either a solo that is an entire verse or a chorus, or very long, or the bands that
But what
do
if it sounds cool?
fucking 9-minute solo outro.
But what if
And
it
it's
sounds
just-
cool?
I'm just
Well, I
lost.
would- what
It
was
sounds
like-
cool. I've never heard a
what if it
guitar
sounds
solo.
sweet? What if it just
Yeah.
sounds cool and everyone can hum it?
And I will
Um,
posit
okay,
to you.
so
I will posit
I-
to you.
If someone can hum
Hang
your
on,
guitar,
Al.
if someone can hum your guitar,
Al, listen,
Go
I'll
on.
posit to you. Comfortably numb. No one really remembers the song. Everyone remembers the solo.
Yeah, I
the
like
solo.
both the lyrics and
The solo. Everyone knows
Well, my
the
point
song.
is, if someone,
I don't like
if,
any of
if
it.
someone can hum a guitar solo without hearing the song, if they can literally go like "November Rain" by Guns N' Roses, like they can do the whole thing in their head, but they don't know the lyrics, I would argue that's more important than the lyrics at that point.
Another one would be Easy by the Commodores.
Final thing, and I think one of the things that's really important for me is that when I listen to music, what I really enjoy, and this might be because of my background in classical music, it's why I love Godspeed You Black Emperor so much. They have no guitar solos. Areogram have one solo in their entire discography. And
You're
it's in a
talking about a
2-minute
lot of
chorus.
bands where it isn't two guitarists. You're talking about bands when they record, they're like triple or quadruple track.
Oh no, so Areogram and Godspeed You Black Emperor aren't
They're not-
multi-track.
they're not?
Smashing Pumpkins are. Like, look, because I'm interested in the orchestration, throwing a guitar solo in is lazy. It's lazy songwriting. Because actually, what I want to listen to personally is the way the instruments are fitting together. And once you stick a solo over the top of that, it's not about the way the band are functioning as a band. It's about the guitarist having a solo, which is a very different thing. And I don't enjoy listening to that. Don't get me wrong. There are some like guitar licks and things like one of the songs that's going to come up later, what we describe as a solo. I don't really think it doesn't feel like a guitar solo. And I really like it for that, because it feels like a part of the song. But most of the songs on this list, most of them, the guitar solo feels like a guitar solo rather than a natural part of the songwriting process. So that's what I dislike. So
Basically,
yeah,
you
I
want
see what
every album
Martin's
to
saying.
say
It's
anger. Come on, man.
No, that's not what I'm saying. It's just I know other people like them. They just don't do anything for me.
I feel like that's a
I mean-
shortcoming on your end. You know how we rip
Yeah.
on Whittle for not liking metal until he started listening to it and decided he quite liked it. You know how we used to rip on him? I feel like this is your changing moment to learn how good guitar solos are.
I've been to watch G3 and Joe Satriani. I've seen them live.
Was it good?
And it just G3 was because I think the G3 I saw was Robert Fripp, Steve Vai, and Satriani, and that was really good. Mostly because Robert Fripp is fucking amazing.
You're basically talking like there has never been a guitar solo that has elevated a song. That's the way you're talking. As is, in every song,
Yeah, I don't
guitar
think
solo would be worse for
personally don't
having a
think there
solo.
has.
So we're talking about Epic by like Faith No More, right? That guitar solo is the song. We're talking about November Rain. That is the fucking song. We're talking about
Purple Rain.
songs which are elevated
the
by
song-
the solo. But you're talking like it's
but
never
then-
elevated.
Because you can't polish a turd. November Rain's
It's not a bad song. It's
It's
subjectively
pretty
great.
good.
Anyway, we're getting into the realm of just listing songs. So let's continue with the ones that have been sent. We mentioned Comfortably Numb, which was sent in by Graham Windsor. Tom Bunch has sent in Under a Glass Moon by Dream Theater.
Amazing.
I listened to that.
I love their first album.
Yeah.
Images. No, not the second song.
Yeah, Images of Words. is a
Images and
masterpiece.
Words. So good.
Images and Words is actually
The best songs
I
I've
like
heard.
the
So
album.
good. And Paul
I do
Million.
like
No, I haven't listened to the whole
Oh,
album, but
so
I
good.
did listen to Under a Glass Moon.
The thing
It
is,
was
which John Petrucci out of Dream Theater is part of that whole scene of the post-Visac thing where they're so technically proficient. They're so amazingly adept at what they do. It goes beyond, for me anyway, my understanding of how to play music. Like listening to those really complicated pianists of the type that Tom listens to. I get it,
I don't listen to that sort of piano playing. I hate that sort
but
of
it
piano
just goes
playing.
beyond me.
Dream Theater is one of those bands where they play ultra technical stuff. And if you like
Yeah.
it, it's music studio music,
It really is.
Yeah.
which is like
It
Images
is.
and Words because it was before they got to that level. And if you have that, it's just, wow, look
Yeah.
at his sweep picking.
Yeah.
Sweep picking. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, this is what Al's just said is a lot of what I feel about guitar solos.
Yeah, I understand.
'Cause
I can understand.
It's unnecessary. And it's like when Martin goes, I listen to pianists who play. I don't listen to virtuosic piano playing because I don't find it interesting. Liszt has beautiful melodies in his piano work that are completely ruined by unnecessary notation. It's a bit like listening to that type of classical music, like Liszt's classical music, a bit like trying to read Edgar Allan Poe's prose, where it's just like, why use one word when you could use 500 classical music? I like Debussy and Ravel and Satie and minimalism because these are composers who are writing something that is not about virtuosity, but is about conveying a message in as simplistic a way.
Why
I
is
also
everyone
think that
simplistic?
I think that all four of us are musicians in our own right, and kind of
I'm
you've
barely.
made music, and I think it's one of those things where,
Yes.
as a musician, solos have a little bit more of an emotive reaction in us, in what we play, the sort of bands we play in, the sort of bands we listen to. And I remember when I first started playing guitar, I was very much Vai, Sax, Van Halen. I hardly ever listen to that anymore. My favorite solos now are like Neil Young and stuff. So I think it's
But the
you
fact is,
mature,
we're
don't you?
overthinking this. We're overthinking this. The fact is, you listen to a song, and when you're smashed and they hit guitar, so you start air
Yeah.
guitaring. That's it. That's
Mate,
all it is.
The Back in Black
That's all
solo
it
is
We're
one of
overthinking this. Tom doesn't.
Still
Tom
gives
will
me
look there going,
goosebumps.
"Oh, I would appreciate they didn't do this. Do another verse of." But it doesn't matter. You hit a
Yeah.
fucking guitar solo. Everyone air guitars except Tom, and then that's it.
yeah.
That's it. It sounds wicked. It sounds wicked.
Next from the post Gary Ball, thank you for contributing, but you've just put Marty McFly, which isn't a guitar solo, it's a character from Back to the Future.
He probably means Johnny B. Good.
Yeah, Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
Probably the most
To
important
be fair,
guitarist
Dan,
in
we're
his-
not going to get it, but our kids are going to love it.
Yeah, Chuck Berry, incredible, massive pervert.
Aren't we
very
all?
important
Aren't we
thing
all?
In early electric guitar playing. A couple of suggestions from William Lloyd of Plymouth Argham, who we sponsor. He has suggested Freebird, which is
Yeah.
also one of Plan B's picks. I mean, it's inevitable that we're going to discuss Freebird on a guitar solo episode.
That solo is pretty up there.
Yeah.
It's
pretty good.
incredible. It's actually, I think, 3 guitarists in that solo that are
Harmonizing.
twisting
Yeah.
they're playing around each other, and I think it fits perfectly.
You have to have a good sound guy to do that right live. I feel that.
It's a very cliche song because, I mean, it's known for everyone just shouting "Freebird" at concerts as a kind of joke. But the song itself, it is a big song.
Everyone knows that line from the solo.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah, my favourite version is
Sings it.
the Live in Atlanta version that was on one of their live albums in the 70s. He plays a slide guitar solo and it makes noises on it. It's incredible. I really like that.
It's really nice.
It's quite creative. I would say Freebird isn't much of a song if you don't have that guitar solo at the end.
It needs it. Yeah, it needs it.
It makes it.
I can see why people like it. It just leaves me a bit cold because I think the solo is all it's got because the rest of the song doesn't have.
I think it's got more than this.
And I don't.
Yeah, I disagree.
I mean,
with
I
that,
quite like the melody.
It's not like me to disagree with Tom, but I'm going to disagree with that. I think the song itself is great.
If it was just a verse and choruses, everyone would like it. But the solo is what excels it to everyone loving it because that is the song. And it's actually quite a statement. Your biggest song as a band is the one with the biggest solo. That's big. It must be pretty good if it's essentially made the popularity of your band, the solo being that good.
Yeah.
He kind of launched them into immortality, really.
Yeah, they could just be another sort of country rock band. But that solo is what makes... The reason people in England listen to it is because of that.
It's not their most famous song.
Yeah,
right?
it is. Thank God.
But it's way better. It's
No,
way
it's
better
not.
than Sweet Home Alabama.
But
Fuck me, I
it's
hate
not
that
their most
song.
famous
I hate it
song.
so much.
Sweet Home Alabama is one of those. I listen to the lyrics and they're a little bit like, they would have been moaning about things being woke if they were still around.
The Kid Rock of their day.
And I think Neil Young won that one because
Absolutely.
obviously Sweet
Southern
Home
Man.
Alabama is a
Yeah.
bit of a retort to Southern Man, and Southern Man kicks Sweet Home Alabama's ass.
Every which way but loose, man. Totally.
The second Will comments, he's gone for While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Now, Dan B picked the Beatles version, which is played by Eric Clapton, but William Lloyd has picked the Prince version that I haven't picked, so we'll discuss it here. Beatles versus Prince. We have got a Prince discussion coming up a bit later on. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, specifically talking about the Beatles version versus the Prince version, I think Prince is the only person I've ever heard who can take that song and essentially make the definitive extended version. Anybody else?
Do you honestly think the original guitarist couldn't have done that? Do you honestly think?
Yeah.
Eric Clapton played the original guitar on that.
As a guitar player, there's no way Eric Clapton could have done that. Not in a million years.
He could have done that. He wrote it.
Yeah.
No, he didn't write it, but it's George Harrison.
Clapton could not have gone to those lengths of fucking expression. There was some pure
It's just shredding.
emotion coming. No, it wasn't. It was more than shredding. It was just like, I've never seen such expressive emotion come out of a guitar in a live performance.
What he did that the other guitarists weren't capable of is he turned that guitar into an extension of his own body while he was performing. I do think he's the best live performer ever. I don't think that anybody else on that stage, I don't think Eric Clapton, and Eric Clapton himself will tell you that Prince is a better guitarist than Eric Clapton. But I don't think that anyone, Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne, I don't think that they have the capability of transcending a stage performance and making the guitar essentially another limb and being so comfortable with it that he can make it sing.
And you're talking like Prince is like solitary in that ability. Every great guitarist has the ability to make that guitar an extension.
Yeah, but I don't think they do it as well.
Also, Prince's solo, I've got it on now for While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Is it just
It's
it's
not
just wanking,
technically
isn't it, right?
difficult. I don't find that Prince solo any better than Eric Clapton's.
Can we I just want
see
to clarify. I really like that solo, but I really don't like the sentiment that no one else can do it like he did.
I will stand by that.
Every lead guitarist, every band practice
he
does
wasn't.
that. Just because Prince did it on a live recording, you can tell him all getting annoyed because he went 4 bars too long. They could do that. It's not. I'm not saying it's not good, but it's not.
Duncan Massey has suggested My Sharona by The Knack, and which I did put on, and because I always see that as a bit of a power pop classic, and I always forget how good the solo is at the end of that record. There's real energy in that guitar solo.
But you remember it. That's my issue because I like that song as well. But as soon as she said that, I had to listen. I had to think in my head, how does the solo go? If you have to think about how the solo goes, it's not top 10.
It's not top 10. I do like that solo.
It's the song.
And
That's all that matters.
it does fit the song. So we also have Matt Tuxey on X. He made 2 suggestions. Firstly, Jimmy Page's solo in Since I've Been Loving You by Led
Absolutely beautiful.
That's a good one.
It's
That's
a
a good
very
one.
good one.
which I think is
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
It's not my favourite Led Zeppelin.
No, it's not mine, but
it
it is one of those ones that's like just, it's heartbreak in the guitar solo.
Mine's my favorite solo for Led Zeppelin is Stairway every time.
I listened to a bit of Led Zeppelin the other day, and I was thinking what my favourite solo was. And as much as I like Kashmir and
Yep.
When the Levee Breaks, it takes an age to get there. The kind of climax of Stairway is
It is.
fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. It's not overly comedy. It's just.
What would Led Zeppelin be without the guitar solos? They are like, for me, they're not my favorite part of Led Zeppelin, but they're my second favorite part of Led Zeppelin. They're just, Page has a way of playing.
I like the drumming.
I almost chose a Page solo because I fucking adore Jimmy Page in the way that
His name's always going
Yeah,
to be in the
and
conversation.
he expresses himself in such a way that he puts, a bit like Prince, he very much puts himself into the instrument, where the notes aren't always perfect, it's sloppy, but the expression is the most important thing. And that's something that I've always taken into my own guitar playing, where it can be a little bit sloppy. And when we get to one of my picks later, I'll talk about that, but like, where it's all about the expression over the note choice or the perfect scale or whatever. It's all about going, how do you dig the pick into the string and how does that fucking note sound? And Page was the master of that, wringing every bit of raw emotion out of just whatever notes he was playing, no matter how tidy or messy or right or whatever they should have been. It's all about just digging in and going, bang, he's getting in there and he's feeling it. And he's feeling it through his instrument. That to me defines a great guitar solo. Page does it every time.
And the second one he nominated was a Tool solo from, I think, their most recent album. Adam Jones being the guitarist in Tool. Nominated Tempest, which I think you've listened to. It's a 50-minute long song, but it is. I really
it's
like
amazing.
This is a question that I think is really important to ask, is what we mean when we term guitar solo. It's important at this point when Tempest by Tool comes up that we find guitar solo, because when I'm saying I don't like guitar solos, what I mean is, so Tempest by Tool and King Crimson Red and everything by Baphomet Tea Party, for me, I wouldn't define them as guitar solos.
Agreed.
They are a guitar lead. Almost go so far as say the outro of Freebird almost isn't a guitar solo, almost. In that a guitar solo, for me, is a section of a song where the guitar takes over for a period of time and then it goes back to the song again. It's a separate entity within a song.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like. Whereas King Crimson Red, I wanted to nominate, but I can't call it a guitar solo because it's a lead guitar line, but that's all there is. It's the whole song is the guitar lead with the bass and the drums. And it's about how the whole thing's interplay and the rhythms.
Yeah.
But that's not, for me, that's not a guitar solo. A guitar solo is a section of a song where the guitar comes front center. Whereas I would argue, right, with the way that Danny Carey plays drums, incredible drummer, the way Justin Chancellor plays bass, probably my favourite bass player, him or Chris Squire, one of the two. It's never truly a guitar solo in the sense of November Rain, for example, or some of the other ones on this list. It's just another movement within the song, within a piece as a whole, rather than a section where it's like, this is the guitar solo. For example, one of my favorite songs on the list that we're going to come to later, which isn't one of my picks, I wouldn't call it a guitar solo in the conventional sense. I'm saying this now, so I'm saying when we define a guitar solo, for me, I think it's important we go, is it a guitar solo or not, when we're defining guitar solo. So I'd say Tempest by Tool is a wonderful piece of music. And if you haven't heard it, you should all go and listen to it. Yeah. But for me, I probably wouldn't define it as a guitar solo because it's part of an overall 15-minute piece. It's not one little section where you go, now the guitar's going to wank off. This is a bit where the guitar's taking the lead, but it's not, but it's still about the interplay of the band underneath.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Dan, can I just say something?
No.
Have any of you seen the episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Dennis gets interviewed by the police and he just stares at the camera? For
yes.
Yes, I have seen
Great.
that, yes.
That's you, Dan. I keep thinking you glitched out and gone stop.
No, I'm
because you're just staring at the camera.
He does,
I'm not
yeah.
moving. You're Dennising it. You are Dennising it, man. And it's really menacing. Menacing Dennis.
Yeah, Dennis the Menace. My preferences for guitars, I don't mind the flashiness.
I like the flashiness.
I understand what Tom's saying about it being almost like an organic part of the song itself, and those are the guitar passages you prefer. Whereas I guess it's subjective, because I can hear a guitar solo that, yeah, I think that has been written, be tacked on, and just be a bit of a show off moment. But I like show off moments in music. I like my music to be big, bold, arrogant, and that's why I love some of these guitar solos. Some of them are just really superfluous, but that kind of unnecessariness to the guitar solo is in a way bold. That's why I like some of the guitar solos.
It's part of the history and the mythology of rock and roll, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is literally one of the greatest cultural movements of all time. The idea of the guy front of the stage, guitar, it's a beautiful thing to me. And even though I'm not into wanky solos myself, I love the idea of just Angus Young fucking doing his thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I think what we're in danger of having is that dying. And I think that I worry about that a little bit. I worry that there are bands out there that are like, oh, no guitar solos. Oh. And it's, why not have a fucking guitar solo?
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that when you've got bands like,
King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard, for instance.
Yeah. Polythia's new stuff. Like, they're just using their technicality in
but that's
different
not my
ways.
point. That's not my point. My point is a solo in a very simple, straightforward rock song. A rock song where it's like verse, chorus, guitar solo, a guy at the front going, what? And then off you go. I think we are losing a bit of that in modern culture. Look at me. I can fucking play right now. I'm Lightning Boy. It goes back to the old days of like the blues men in the fucking 30s and 40s of like, yeah, they couldn't sing well and their songs were all the same, but they could fucking play, man. And I think the swagger is exactly that. I mean, I think a lot of guitar players are losing it by going, oh, I've got to be over technical or I've got to be like not playing up. And it's really nice to see a guitar player go, no, fuck you, man. I'm playing a solo right now.
I think a lot of chart music, especially, and therefore a lot of popular music that is peripheral to the charts, because hip hop and dance music have been dominating for such a long time, that rock music isn't quite given the same level to shine in that manner as it used to be.
It's not. And also, you've got to remember as well, there is a gender issue in the sense that the guitar solos were seen as a very masculine thing. It's the whole penis extension thing. But you do have amazing fucking female guitar soloists out there. Nita Strauss, she's a rocker. Look at artists like St. Vincent, for instance, who's got her own signature guitar and stuff.
Honey Stan, Emery Rundle.
There's a lot of female guitarists out there, but it's taking a long time for female guitarists to go out and go, I can fucking do this. Nita Strauss is like one of the best examples of that, where she's like totally taken that whole male leather-clad rock and roll standard guitar solo thing and made it female.
Rock music
there is a
in
gender
general
issue.
is dying. That's the, like, it's got nothing to do with male or female. Okay, I appreciate there are more female guitarists now who can quite frankly play the pants off most men. That's a thing, but the only reason you don't hear it, the only reason it's not popular is because rock music in general is dying. No one listens to it anymore. It's on the radio.
That's what I was saying. I think because hip hop and dance are dominating the airwaves more, you don't hear as many examples of it. And
I
so
guess female
become a bit
guitarists
passe.
have missed the boat, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think you made the point perfectly. I think that female guitarists should have been appreciated way earlier, and they're already now getting appreciated. Now that rock is dying, it's now people are going, oh, these female guitarists are great. Rock itself is dying, and it shouldn't be. And I'm on that whole like thing of I don't want rock to die ever. And I'm a Gen X.
But we're talking as old people talking about the generation below us about music. They like hip hop and stuff, and it'll come round full circle. We'll give it over 20 years, but unfortunately, we are in that dad rock phase. That we think about our dads above us, who like Led Zeppelin and all that stuff. It is what it is.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, Jim isn't here tonight, but he did have 2 songs suggested by him, so we will go through them briefly. Dan B nominated While My Guitar Gently Weeps, the original Beatles song, and Freebird, which we've already discussed. Jim's 2 choices. His first one was from a very famous British heavy metal band. They were pioneers of heavy metal in 1970. This is probably the best example of a guitar solo from my personal perspective from that band. The band was Deep Purple that Jim nominated, and the song was Child in Time.
It might be my favourite song of all time. That's how good I think the song is. I listen to it all the time driving home from work at midnight in a dark car going, just like screaming my fucking lungs out. I don't think guitar solo is the best part of this song, but I do like how it's an intermission between the 2 parts of the song, and I think it does it very well. But it's not the best guitar solo like that. It's just part of one of the best songs ever written.
I did really like that solo. It's got a really clean tone to it. As the tempo changes, keeps the pace and makes it interesting. It's a very early example of shredding. You can hear how it has inspired people like Hammett. I noticed as well, you can hear the likes of Stevie Ray Vaughan, what he would later do in the 80s, and you can hear a lot of influences coming from Richie Blackmore's guitar in this song. I think it's a good choice.
My take on the guitar solo is that it's perfect for the song. I'm not a Deep Purple fan. I'm not a Richie Blackmore fan. I only know about Richie Blackmore through learning of my instrument, because I obviously went through that phase of learning the classic stuff, and Richie Blackmore was part of that. For me, Jimmy Page took over. But yeah, if it wasn't for Richie Blackmore, guitar wouldn't sound like it does now. In rock, anyway, in classic rock.
I love his solo on Stargazer by Rainbow as well.
It's precise. That's what I like about it. That's what I like about Richie Blackmore's playing.
Like, in my head, if you're like Deep Purple, you barely like rock music. It's so fucking good, man. It's so good. It was made so long ago as well. We're talking this is early 70s shit. Like, this is so
1970.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so early. This is so groundbreaking.
Imagine. It was only 10 years before you had like the likes of Chuck Berry,
like,
just doing very simple.
This is before Black Sabbath. Like, this is insanely good. I think they're incredible.
That's a big win for me.
Jim's second choice, I wouldn't say they was known as Deep Purple. They're a progressive rock band from the 70s called Wishbone. Particular choice we had was from the third album, Argus, and it's a song called Throw Down the Sword, which was performed by Andy Powell on guitar, who's known for his dual guitar solos. I thought this was another good example. It's a very... the song sounds like almost like a medieval folk tale. It sounds very defiant in the face of a marching enemy force. And I think it's big, it's powerful.
The guitar solo is the song. This isn't a guitar solo. This is a medley of guitar wankage, but which makes the song. This isn't a guitar solo, in my opinion. It sounds great, but it's not a guitar solo, if you ask me. It's just not. It's a journey of musical expression through the guitar for an entire song, but it's definitely not a guitar solo for me. It's just not. It doesn't count.
When the guitar solo at the end starts, I was like, oh, this is quite a nice guitar part for the first few seconds. And then it just degenerates into scales and squealies. And I was a bit like, oh, I'm out now. A whole song's got that whole faux Elizabethan thing that was really popular in all the prog of the time. And yeah, it's nice enough.
It's nice, but I just don't think it's
fine. I just didn't.
I feel like the entire song is one guitar solo. So to identify that one bit at the end, which is a guitar solo, technically as a solo, I think the whole song is a solo, but not in the. But when the whole song is a solo, it's not a solo. It's just the song. That's what I think of this.
Yeah,
it's cool. I did like it, but I don't think it's a guitar solo.
It was nice to listen to.
It was.
I don't know if I'll ever listen to it again, but it was nice to listen to.
We'll start off the main course for tonight. We'll discuss our own choices. Released on the 1996 album, The Jester Race. This solo is played by Glenn Lundstrom.
Try your Swedish. Hey, we've been to Sweden. Yes, it's big.
Of the Swedish melodic death metal band In Flames. It begins at around the 1:30 mark, the track December Flower. What was your thought process in nominating this?
Okay, like the reason we even have this subject is because I kept pushing for it, because I just wanted to talk about this song. It's my favorite guitar solo of all time. I guess for most people who listen to Led Zeppelin, like, obviously there's more traditional solos which might be better, but as a metal guy, like melodic death metal is not something that can be overlooked in music history. Melodic death metal is the reason metal sounds the way it does. 2010 to 2020 is melodic death metal influenced shit. Everything, even emo was fucking melodic death metal, but with punk pop singing. Melodic death metal cannot be underestimated how big a deal it was to rock music. And the two biggest bands in that, actually three really, was At the Gates, In Flames, and Dark Tranquillity. For me personally, In Flames is by far my favorite. I love At the Gates, Dark Tranquillity.
Mine too.
But In Flames, between Jester Race all the way to what's it called, Rich Remain, were like, they were my band for 5 years. I fucking love In Flames. It's not even their best album, but this solo for me is absolutely perfect. So I quite like the riffs. I like the singing. I like it, but it's smack bang in the middle. And quite frankly, this solo is the song. Like, it makes the song and it sounds incredible. I could hum you this song start to finish by hearing it. I know this solo so well. And it's one of those ones where if you know the genre, you'll know this solo and how good a solo is. If you've never heard it before, you go, it sounds quite good. But for me personally, like this, it's just perfect. It's perfect length. It's got dual guitar solo bits. It goes really well with the song. It's literally the middle part of the verse chorus on either side, and it's perfect. It's quite hard pressed me to find a solo which I like more than this one. I love this solo. Please, rip it apart, go.
I'm actually not going to. But the bizarre is, I've always had a soft spot for Melodeath. Don't like guitar solos particularly, and I don't like when they're overly virtuosic. The thing that In Flames do is, at least, as Al said, you could sing it.
Yeah.
And actually, weirdly, in Melodeath, where the vocals are grunted or screamed, how do
It's
you
its own
describe
instrument.
it? Yeah. Although I go on about guitar solos, and I'm contradicting myself a little. Don't get me wrong. It's my favorite bit of the songs with Melodeath, with In Flames. My favorite bit of the riffs, not the solos. I love their riffs. The solos, they don't make or break it for me in the same way this one does for Al. And I can see why he loves it.
I've known most of their songs, it doesn't make or break it. In fact, it never does.
No.
It's like you say, it's the usual thing you don't like about guitar solos. It's end of the second chorus. Let's just extend it out. Fair enough. In Flames are guilty about all over the shop. But this song specifically, which is why I picked it, this is the song. There's the entire crux. It's right smack bang in the middle. It's half the length of the entire fucking song was this solo practically. And this is the song. It's almost like the verse and the chorus was built to fit the solo and vice versa. That's why I like it so much.
It's nicely melodic.
I've got on my notes here that melody reminds me of almost video game music.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
She wouldn't sound out of place on maybe like a PlayStation 3 game or something like that. I think it came out in 96, so it's probably more likely to be original PlayStation. It's very clear in tone, contrasts quite well with the music. If it didn't have the guitar solo, I would ignore this song. I don't think any of
most metal people would, because I like the heaviness at the start and I like the bridge riff. It sounds cool, but it's literally built. This guitar solo is that's why it's so rare in metal. Like the guitar solo is, you can tell the song's written around it, because when it starts, it might be a bit stock. It goes to the bridge. It's starting to get a bit jumpy. It's quite cool. But then as soon as that guitar solo hits, you realize it was leading up to it. And then when it goes down, it leads back in so well. That's why I like it so much. Like, I don't know. It's great.
Martin, your thoughts on this one?
I used to love metal and I used to fucking adore this sort of shit. And it used to be the stuff that inspired me to want to play better and be more technical and stuff. But that's a long time ago. And I struggle with it now. I just struggle with really technically brilliant playing because I'm like, I'll never be that good. I never was, it's like, it's a reminder of my failure as a guitar player.
Yeah, but no, I can understand
like,
if you said that about other metal music. Fair enough. Some stuff here is insane. This isn't overly technical. It just sounds cool.
Yeah, it does sound cool and it fits the song perfectly. And I think the song would have been not as good without that solo, but it's a bit like it's the reason I don't listen to thrash metal or the likes of Dream Theater anymore. I don't even listen to Steve Vai or Strider anymore. It's because I'm like, I wanted to be like that so much, and I failed massively. And I liked it then, but I don't like it so much now. But I do appreciate it.
You got more backup from me than you got from mine. How does that feel?
You're correct, because I know at least someone on this podcast appreciates how big a deal melodic death metal was back in the day.
So we'll move on. My choice next.
Drink.
Dire Straits, go.
No list is safe on this podcast. You may recognize this artist from every other time I've been asked my opinion about music. Tonight's Prince selection is Bambi.
The song rules.
Played by a 20-year-old Prince, released on his 1979 second self-titled album. All the instruments on this song, bass, drums, keyboards, vocals, and all production duties were handled by Prince himself. But this was, maybe other than I'm Yours on his first album, the moment that he decided he was going to become a guitar god as well as an R&B songwriter. There's many, many examples. We've talked about While My Guitar Gently Weeps, who maybe we've mentioned it too many times for me to talk about it in full. His live version, Just My Imagination, I love. And there's several rehearsal demos and a version of Love Sexy mixed with Feel You Up, which he just rips on for about 8 minutes. But I have gone with Bambi simply because I thought I'd take it back to basics and give an example of an early Prince song where he was not as well established and he was cutting his teeth in the industry. And this solo, specifically the second solo, which serves as the outro coda to the song, is just astounding that somebody 20 years old could play a guitar solo that has so much raw power and emotion in it, and just fucking rules, as Al said.
This was one of the most beautiful guitar solos I've heard for quite a while, because I haven't been listening to music where there's guitar solos in it a lot lately. And you can absolutely hear his nascent talent coming through. And what I mean by that is that his solos aren't just him wanking off. It's him embellishing melodies of the song to fit. I remember, Dan, when me and you were playing a band together, and you said to me something that really stuck with me. It was like, follow vocal lines with the guitar parts. And you're dead right. And I think that's what Prince does in this track, is that he takes the melody onto the guitar. It's almost like a seamless transition from the song into the guitar part. So it's not like the guitar doesn't sound separate to the song. It sounds part of it, which is, for me, the mark of a great guitar solo. And his tone is impeccable. I don't know what he was playing. Probably his Tokai Telecaster.
Yeah.
Through a Marshall JCM 800 or something. Yeah. The Hohner, all right, which fucking, I'd love to have that guitar.
It's in a glass case in Paisley Park. I'm this far from it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I would fucking be breaking into that case, right? But yeah, just the expression and every note. This is the thing about Prince, right? Why he's a master guitar player is because every note means something. I'm going to go back to the While My Guitar Gently Weeps thing. He's not just wanking off. Every note, every single note means something. Even the passing notes, they mean something.
I don't know, man. I think I completely agree. This song is pure wanking off, which is why I like it.
Yeah.
For me, sometimes you can have...
No, you're right. You're right, Al. It is wanking off because that's what Prince was.
No, he did it in key, he did it well. But the thing I like about guitar solos is the exact thing Tom doesn't like. I like a guitar solo. It's almost like an overswelling of the music where it just goes off on it, because it's almost like the music is going so hard. The lyrics don't kind of work. They just go in all in on the music. There's a guy on his fucking knees on the stage just going mad. That's what I like about guitar solo. It's almost like the music itself is overwhelmed by the music, and then they just hit a giant guitar solo. It adds to it for me. It's something Tom doesn't like, because Tom likes it deconstructed within the song itself. For me, I like it 'cause it's almost like an overabundance of music. Then you hit a guitar solo and it makes it way back. Yeah. And I think this song rules. It's so cool. I'm not the biggest Prince fan, but I love this song. But that's what I like about the solos in this. I don't think that's the solos themselves are incredible. It's like, oh my God, I've never heard that before. But the thing I like about this is the song itself is so funky and so cool, and the guitar solos fit perfectly in it. The thing that makes Prince good, it's the same reason we talk about that guitar gently weeps solo he has. It's the same reason why this song is good. It's almost like a chauvinistic version of just, let's fucking hit this groove and keep going. And I see, for the reason I like this is the exact reason Tom won't like it.
I have tried so hard over the years to get into Prince, but I hear this song and it just sounds like he's mimicking like Free or early 70s hard rock.
I think that's what I liked about it. I like that stuff.
Yeah, that's what you liked about it. But I was like,
well, we're better
when we talk about it,
because for me, the guitar solo isn't even the best guitar solo in the song.
Don't think
the bass solo towards the end is insane. It's so good.
He is not playing the bass better than the bass player from Free. Let's just be really clear right now. Like, absolutely not.
I will stand by that.
Absolutely.
Because
absolutely.
Free wasn't capable of punk.
Still a better bass player. And Bad Company were, and Bad Company is the same bass player who was in Free. So disagree massively. It's an all right bass groove. It's fine. The guitar solo's all right. But like, if we're talking about it purely in guitar solos, it's very well played. I think actually the lyrics made me really uncomfortable, and I found it, and often that's the thing with me and Prince. Maybe I've listened to so much Prince, I'm just looking to be offended by something he sings about. Maybe that's what it is, but I got really offended by it. And then I'm instantly switched off and disengaged. So I'm listening to it and going, the main guitar riff sounds a bit like Free, but I like Free better. We haven't mentioned All Right Now by Free if we're talking about great lyrical guitar solos at the end.
If you don't like a guitar solo, then you don't like a guitar solo. That's fine. I just think, for me personally, I like the solo because it was just very melodic and fit the song, and the guitar tone really drew me in. I love the tone more than anything. I think the expression that Prince got out of that guitar was a precursor of what he was going to do later on with the likes of Purple Rain, for instance. I think that was it for me. He was like 19 years old and he could have done loads of Steve Vai type shit, because he probably could have done, but he didn't. He was just like,
no, I don't like you saying that wishy-washy. He might not have been able to do that at 19.
No.
We wishy-washy about his ability.
My appreciation of Prince comes from this. When I saw him live, and he can fucking shred. He can shred all day long.
But the age of 50, he's talking about 19-year-old.
But he doesn't. He just plays like one or two notes that fit perfectly with where it needs to be. And it's about that for me. And that I find it inspirational when I play my own stuff. Is make the note count, not how technical you can be. Just if you can play one note and it's awesome, then just play the one note. You don't need to play a million notes. And Prince does that. It's fucking awesome in that sense.
Yeah, the reason I chose this is because obviously Prince is incredibly important to me. Yeah. I think that this is the point where he made a statement to the public and was like, I'm not just an R&B disco
guy,
pop songwriter. He's going to do incredible things on guitar as well. And they became more frequent throughout his career.
Yeah.
This solo is an early example of him becoming just one of the most bombastic figures in music.
Bombastic is true. I'll give you that. It's not something that appeals to me, but he's definitely going for that.
I'm coming to this as a non-guitar player, and my relationship with music is a little bit different. And I do love the kind of escapism of seeing all the bombastic characters.
That's what Prince was all about. Prince was all about bombast. It was about getting out there. Yeah.
I essentially view Prince as being a conduit for people who felt like outsiders, and he made it. He made it cool to be the definitive outsider, because he was not only, he somehow simultaneously became the biggest artist on the planet and also the biggest cult artist on the planet at the same time.
I'm so privileged to have ever seen him play live. It's one of the most incredible experiences.
And speaking of live performances, if you do like Bambi, the studio version that we've just been discussing, check out the live version from the Tokyo Dome in 1990 on the Nude Tour. And that's a really good. He gives it, there's extra to that performance. Something that obviously happened to piss him off because he was on one night. It's incredible. And so from Prince to another band that we're always banging on about, we skip ahead now to the late 1990s and a little-known album by the name of OK Computer. This presumably undiscovered band called Radiohead did a little ditty by the name of Paranoid Android. And the man responsible for the chaos in Paranoid Android is Johnny Greenwood. This was a number 3 hit in the UK, and Martin's going to take over.
There are 2 solos in this song, and the first solo comes in just after the rain down part, because it's like a bit of a rock opera almost, this song. They do the whole rain down part, and then Johnny Greenwood comes in with the main riff. It's so incredible.
And so heavy and so cool.
Yeah, it is overbearingly talented in the way that he goes against all conventions of guitar solos. Usually our solo is a melodic thing, and he keeps it melodic.
I wasn't sure which solo you picked, because obviously the early one is good, but for me it's the last one.
Yeah,
that is the actual solo. Like that.
I'm going to the trend here. I can play the first time.
It's incredible. Like, it's so good. The first one's good, but that last one is just, I don't know what fucking pedals he was using, but it's wicked.
I know, right? There are many YouTube videos that I've watched over and over again about what effects he's used and stuff. He's got like a modded Telecaster with a kill switch and stuff on it that like he uses. And yeah, it's just chaos in guitar terms. It's just like the most expressionistic guitar solo I've heard in my entire life. I could have chosen almost any Johnny Greenwood solo, because Johnny Greenwood is literally my favorite guitar player of all time. There's nobody better than him. I chose this because it sums up everything that he's about. It comes in with the riff and the solo, like he mixes them both.
It's definitely a progression of the riff. It's not like a lot of songs where it's first chorus. You can tell that he blended it in very nicely.
I like to think that Nigel Godrich, who produced it, it's not just Johnny Greenwood comes into the song. It's like Nigel Godrich unleashed a wild animal from its cage into the song.
Yeah,
and he wrestles with the idea of what the song was before and transforms it in and adds that rock element that it was maybe missing before that. That was very intentional. So the section's building towards that timeline.
What's interesting with this is the one I was referring to earlier, and I'm like, it doesn't necessarily feel like a guitar solo in the way that you hear the way the rest of the band change up the song underneath what he's doing and what the other guys are doing, like Ed O'Brien and Selway on drums and Colin Greenwood on bass. And what they're doing underneath is they're changing up to follow. So this almost becomes a variation on the riff almost. And I love what they're doing with the guitar. And it's that, don't get me wrong. Like I may say I don't like guitar solos. I like it. I do like to hear experimentation and people doing interesting things. And this song is full of those. And this is one of those moments with what Johnny Greenwood's doing on guitar. And what he's doing on the guitar is really cool to listen to. And very musically interesting. So I like
exactly that. I mean, I think for me, it's like the first solo is amazing because he's just doing the riff and then he does like weird glitchy shit, fucks up his guitar sound deliberately to sound absolutely unmusical. And then that last solo, it's so melodic, so melodic.
He almost deconstructs the song that existed before he comes into it at I think it's
absolutely
around, which is around 248.
It's a very deliberate thing to do. So Johnny Greenwood particularly is a big fan of classical music, and that deconstruction is something that the Russian classical composers, which I know he's a fan of, if you listen to like any Shostakovich piece, a lot of Shostakovich, he'll start off with a melody that sounds musical. And then he'll just gradually deconstruct it so it's less and less musical through the piece. And that's exactly what Johnny Green was doing here.
Yes,
and I have massive respect. I have massive respect for a musician doing that because it's actually a very difficult thing to do.
And that's my aim. And purely as a guitar player, when I listen to him, he does little things that, like you said, deconstructed. So usually when you bend a note, you bend up to the note. What Johnny Greenwood does, he'll bend up to the note and then keep going. So it's like overbend. and it sounds like a bit off. It sounds a bit like weird. It sounds a bit like that's not the right note, man. But it is the right note because it
sounds
just
fucking
fucking fits.
Sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely, perfectly. Just because he hits the right note at one point and then goes past it, and yeah, those overbends that he does are just they're the best things I've ever heard in my life.
I feel like some stuff
I Johnny Greenwood
in general
is
though is discordant. He does it
literally-
on purpose to overemphasize
Yeah.
notes and almost add artificial messiness to a song which is quite tranquil and
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
much done on purpose.
Yeah.
And it really complements their music. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a great guitarist.
Yeah.
It is done on purpose, but it's also done with pure passion. You can tell he just like he's losing when you see that. I've never had the privilege of seeing Radiohead live, and I really hope I do one day. But you can tell when he's playing, he's so passionate about the notes that he's hitting that they mean something.
For me, he's a very similar guitarist to At the Driving Mars Volta guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very similar
Yeah.
listening because I always remember Omar.
Omar Rodriguez Lopez.
No, Omar's the singer.
No,
Cedric
Cedric
That's
Bixler's
Cedric.
cover.
Yeah. He reminds me very much of Omar. I'm pretty certain he came first, but it's a very similar style. Yeah.
Where it all comes from, the origin of that is Sonic Youth.
So like Radiohead heavily influenced by Sonic Youth, Nirvana to a degree. The best bits of Nirvana, I should say, are influenced by Sonic Youth. It's that rejection of blues as the major overall sort of sound of music. So even like heavy rock up until Sonic Youth is still grounded in that sort of 1-4-5 from blues a lot of the time. And Sonic Youth completely removed that, and Radiohead pick it up and run with it on this, and I just love that.
The interesting thing is that the blues is the background, but they just twist it. They twist it and fucking take it into a different level. Like every note that you can play on the blues scale, they play the opposite note.
It's a rejection of it, which I like.
The origin of this kind of guitar playing, I'm not a guitar expert. It reminds me of 1981's My Life in the Bush of Ghosts, which is Brian Eno and David Byrne. And it's a lot of soundscapes created using very interesting techniques.
Yeah, you're right. It's people like Robert Fripp
Yeah.
and Brian Eno and more experimental end of rock music in that sort of 70s and 80s, 70s period as well. And it leads to this. I mean, Radiohead talk a lot about Can and Noi and Van de Graaff Generator as big influences, other bands who were doing very interesting things musically.
One of the biggest influences of Radiohead was the post-punk scene, which was the likes of Susie, the Banshees and the Cure. And I just want to say, as a guitar player in a band, Foreign Voices, I like to bring a little bit of Johnny Greenwood to the band Foreign Voices. You might have heard of them.
Johnny is a regular listener, so we'll make sure we hit him up with that.
I hope he is.
So we'll move on now to Tom's choice, because of course we are a parody of ourselves now, because on our website,
God,
it says we like to explore music outside of our comfort zones. Now this isn't, because take another drink, because Smashing Pumpkins are up next, another one of our sacred cows. This one is Stand Inside Your Love from the album Machina Machines of God, played by James Iha. It's from the year 2000, making it the most recent song appearing on tonight's list. And this was the lead international single from the album, and it did actually chart at number 23 in the UK.
Smashing Pumpkins have done a lot of good solos, if you're into that. But for me, it was always about their riffs rather than the solos. This song doesn't really have a riff, but it does have an Ebo solo that's about 10 seconds long. And I massively trolled everybody with my 2 picks.
yeah, you massively trolled this one because don't get me wrong, this is probably my favorite Smashing Pumpkins song.
It's one of the catchiest ones.
Jimmy Chamberlain's strong on this.
It
It's
is
so perfect.
undeniable.
But like,
Can I just put undeniable banger?
Hold on, you cannot have for us, top 8 solos and put this in it. It's not in the top 8. It's barely guitar solo.
It is a
This
guitar.
strong in
It
such
is a
a
guitar
degree.
solo.
There are 100 guitar solos in this. But this song was incredible. It's probably my favorite Smashing Pumpkins song.
It's my favorite Pumpkin
But-
song. Can I just go undeniable banger, please?
Yes. 100%
Yes.
for me, yeah.
No, Cherub Rock is though.
Denied.
Yeah. Bastards.
Denied.
Yeah, denied. Everyone else agrees. The reason why I picked it is that, weirdly, I was torn between this and the track for Martha. So James Iha was is probably one of the best guys at playing an EBow. His EBow line is really mixed quite low in the mix. Like, it's over the choruses.
It's about 12 seconds of it at the 3-minute mark. It does continue, but it's very low in the mix after that. And it sounds like it's
I feel like
synthesizer.
this doesn't contribute to the solo right now. We can discuss the rest of the song if you want, but is the solo that good? I'm not sure. It's a great song, and I do think it's a great solo, but it's not something I would point to and go, this is top 10 in my life solos.
It's actually my favourite solo because when we talk
Because
about...
it's not a solo.
It's not a solo.
Well, it's about 12 seconds up. When you guys talk about solos and you talk about note choice, right? That's one of the things that you've all mentioned when you talk about guitar.
So you spin our words against us, Tom. I know what you're trying now.
I'm going.
I know what you're trying. We're all hypocrites, but we're not having this.
In this instance, those notes that he hits on the EBow are perfect.
Why do you keep saying Evo? What is the Evo?
Also...
What is the Evo?
EBow is the effect that he's using on the guitar. So an EBow is a device that you use that emits a high frequency vibration that you use instead of a pick. It's why it gives you infinite sustain on the note.
Is that a little device?
In simple terms, it's like using a violin bow on your guitar strings.
It's a little black device with a blue light on it.
Yeah, it's the little black device with the blue light. And he's using that to play the guitar. And he was one of the guys who... Him and the guy from REM are the two guitarists in the 90s who really kind of... They're the two guys who really used the EBow in mainstream music. And James E has certainly the most melodic playing it. He uses it on a Pumpkins track from Adore called For Martha, which has also got a really nice solo in it. And again, that solo isn't really a solo. It's just an extension of the song. It almost doesn't count either. But yeah, playing like that with an EBow to get it that crisp it's not that difficult, but it's regulating that amount of feedback that he's getting with the EBow when he's playing the notes is fairly difficult to do. So it's picking really good notes. It's a nice little melody line. It's nice. It is.
It's nice.
I like it.
Nice.
It's my favourite guitar solo because it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's like, short, to the point, play the notes, move on. It's like what I like in classical music. It's like, I've played, the song's great. We've got a verse and a chorus. We'll put a little bit of melody in there, get my point, get James E to get his musical point across and move on. I think that's great. He doesn't need to do any more. He doesn't need to drag it out for 6 minutes like Wishbone Ash.
I really do like this song. Billy Corgan is not anywhere near my top vocalists ever. He wouldn't even be like my top 100 of the 90s.
My top 20. I love his twang.
But I don't like his tone, but do think it's possibly the catchiest Smashing Pumpkins song. Maybe other than
probably
Night to Night, maybe. It's good, but I just don't see it as a guitar solo for me, as an exemplary guitar solo.
Sure, bro.
Next up, we'll go back to Alex. Now, this is one of the biggest guitar acts of all time. It kind of to appear on this list at time in the 80s, and it's Metallica. Alex has chosen the second track from their smash thrash success, Ride the Lightning, from 1984, which is the best Metallica album. It also happens to be the title track. Kirk Hammett's iconic solo. This is Ride the Lightning.
He gets a lot of shit because most guitarists now will just make fun of Kirk for pentatonic minor scale, and they make fun. But the bottom line is, this solo put him on the fucking map, and it's one of those solos that a lot of 12 to 14-year-olds point to with Metallica and go, that's what got me into playing guitar. That's what made me want to play lead guitar.
Yeah.
And this solo it's one of the first examples in thrash and all that, where it was literally a part of the song where the riffs underneath it transitioned with it, and it just sounds wicked. There's no way around it. It just sounds good. It's not like Tom would say just random wankery. It is wankery, but it goes to wankery where they changed the riffs underneath it, which hadn't previously been played in the song. It was almost like they wrote the music underneath it to fit the solo, rather than the solo just going over just verse riffs and that. It's just so good. It's long, and it keeps getting higher and it comes back perfect. I just love this. It's so good. And there might be YouTube guitarists now go, "Oh, it's a bit shit because I can now play this and sweep picking and all that stuff." But this was a big deal when it came out, and it to me personally, is still one of the best. Like, when I was a kid, I always thought this was the best solo one ever. So I don't care if guitarists can decide there's better solos. This sounds the best to me. It's so good. There you go. Rant over. Not rant, but yeah.
In terms of bombast, I think this is one of the most important solos in metal, because after 9A4, this is the album that makes thrash break through. After this, for me, this is my favourite Metallica album, as I mentioned. I think Fate maybe my favourite song.
This is my favourite song they've ever done. I just love the riff.
Subsequently, maybe my favourite solo, but this is insane. It's really, really good. It sounds like I think Kirk Hammett's clearly written it with a vision in mind, because I can kind of close my eyes and be engulfed in this song, and it sounds to me like it's a battle in the rain with some sort of wild beast. It reminds me of the album cover, the electric chair in the dark background in like weather conditions and all that. It's just really evocative of imagery, and it's got really strong tonal themes, and I love the way he picks up with the galloping and drums, and he keeps pace.
It just fits as a musical piece. It just all fits together, in my opinion. It's a long song, but I feel like the reason it's long is because they literally took 2 minutes out just to have this bit in. It's almost like the guitar solo came separately, because they had all these different riffs they wanted to fit over it, and they put a guitar solo that would fit over all of it, and it ties the song together. And I think it's wicked. I think it's really good. I would like to know what Martin and Tom would think. But
this guitar solo's it's actually in a couple of parts, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he starts off with a little bit of wankery. Yeah. So he does he starts off with what sounds like it's going to go into wankery, and then he does the rising notes with a band change underneath. And then he does wankery, and then he goes back to the cool arpeggiated bit. The arpeggiated bit was what the band are doing underneath it at the end of the solo. I really like, because that fits together in an almost unsolo way, because he's doing that arpeggio and the band are alternating the chord underneath, and that's really cool. It's the wanky bit in the middle I don't like, but the long notes with the band underneath I really like. So the fast bit I don't like until it goes into the arpeggio. So there's bits of it I really like.
So the wanky bit in the middle,
and
let's
then
say
there's
you
bits
didn't
of it I
solo
don't.
over that wanky bit in the middle, right? But it still had that riff in the middle. What would you prefer over that bit?
It probably wouldn't work as that wouldn't have been their vision.
You're allowed to have a wanky bit in the middle. People like wanky bits in the middle.
Yeah, I don't like the wanky bit personally. I don't like the wanky bit in the middle, but when it goes back into those arpeggios, when it kicks up a gear, when he gets into the arpeggios, I really liked that bit. It's just there's bits of it I don't like, but then there are always going to be, because as you rightly pointed out, it's a pentatonic scale much exclusively.
It's
That's
like a red
guitar.
flag to Tom.
It's a red flag to a lot of
but-
guitarists now, because he put it on the map.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, he used it a lot, and it became a cliche because of him.
I try and approach everything on this podcast from several different levels. I come at a lot of these songs from a position of not playing guitar. I don't want to get too technical because it's not my domain of knowledge, whereas you've all got different levels of expectation with guitar. I think ultimately, when you're listening to this, you'll see that it is largely subjective. It's really difficult to try and describe in words why you like something when specifically there are no words attached to it.
So like we said earlier, guitar solos are way more subjective than a song is. It's a lot harder to argue about it. If you just don't like it, you don't like it.
Mine, your thoughts on this one?
Don't be negative.
I won't be negative. I went through that phase of being really into Metallica. Of the thrash bands, Anthrax and Megadeth were my 2 favourites, but I really liked when Metallica slowed down a little bit. And this is like earlier Metallica, so it's like a bit faster, and it's a bit like, there's a lot more wiggly stuff going on. And I dug it, but I was actually, I prefer Kirk Hammett when he does that bluesy wah-wah thing, like on the Black Album and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I just find his playing, it gets mocked and he gets the piss taken out of him because he's not all wiggly anymore. He's more like soulful. His earlier solos are way more technical than his later solos. We all know Kirk Hammett in his day could fucking shred. He can't anymore, but he used to be able to. He used to be able to fucking shred like a motherfucker.
People get old, man.
And when I was learning to play guitar, I had a picture of Kirk Hammett on my wall. I had my wall of heroes. My wall was covered with pictures of all of my guitar heroes. Most of them were grungers, Alex in Chains and all that. But Kirk Hammett was up there, and I was like, yeah, I want to play like that. And it was that early stuff that I wanted to play like, because I was still into Van Halen and that stuff. Yeah, I think it's sad that Kirk Hammett's become a better lead player now than he was back then, even though back then he was amazing. And I really wish people would stop being so down on him.
I think it's in conjunction with the fact that Metallica just aren't, they haven't got that many original, interesting ideas anymore. And I think that whilst yeah, I think he's become more soulful as an artist himself. I think he's playing in a band that are quite tired and don't seem.
Yeah.
I've listened to all their modern albums, like Death Magnetic, 72 Seasons, the one that came out this year. They don't engage me. Oh, you can hear Kirk Hammett is still a good guitarist. It's just the songs aren't there for them anymore.
Do you know what? You've hit the nail on the head.
Drake.
Right. Yeah, the band have almost become worse than their lead guitar player.
They become less than the sum of parts.
Yeah. Their lead guitar player has got more soul than what the band put into their songs anymore. A crazy situation to be in.
But to give Metallica a bit of credit for this one, I think this is an undeniable banger.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, Ride the Lightning.
Yeah, go on.
Conflict design.
Yeah, all right.
Next up, Martin's choice. Now, this one's taken from the 1990 album Ritual the Habitual. And this solo comes from the capable fingers of American guitarist Dave Navarro of the band Jane's Addiction, who we didn't actually get to discuss in the top 15 songs of 2003, even though they were nominated.
It was a bad album.
And this is their biggest hit, Been Caught Stealing, which is apparently a semi-autobiographical song from Perry Farrell. This did crack the UK top 10. It did go to number 1 on the Billboard Alternative Songs chart as well back in 1990. So Martin, tell us a bit about Been Caught Stealing by Dave Navarro.
Dave Navarro is one of the greatest guitar players of all time. End of story. And
Debatable.
yeah, he's incredible. He's incredible. Ritual the Habitual is one of the greatest albums of all time. I'm not going to go into the whole discussion about Lollapalooza and all of that, or Perry Farrell or anything, but about this guitar solo, it's exactly what Tom said earlier. It comes in, it does what it needs to do, and then it fucks off. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's like the song is happening, and then you want something else to happen, and it does, and that's what the solo does. It is a solo of pure joy, of pure fun. This is how I equate it to when you want to get a bit higher, when you're like, when you've taken an E or something, or you're fucking getting drunk or whatever, and you want another drink and want to get a bit higher. That solo does that for you.
It tops you up.
It tops you up. So the song is great. The song is fucking amazing on its own, in its own right. The lyrics are fantastic. The fucking vocals are fantastic. It's got dogs barking at the beginning. It's everything you want.
It's one of the best uses of a dog barking in a song.
Man,
I always like an excuse to make fun of Martin's bands, and I'm not the biggest Jane's Addiction guy, but I do really like this song. I think it sounds
It's a
wicked.
good song.
My only issue with this is
it's fun.
the guitar solo is the best bits of the guitar solo are sung over. Da, 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 da. For me, it's not a guitar solo. It's almost like an underlying rhythm, or not rhythm, but because the lyrics are screamed over the top of it, for the best bits for the, I don't know what word would be, for the crescendo of it, it's not for me a pure solo. It's almost like underlying wangling, which is why.
But that's the point. That's the point. That is absolutely the point.
This isn't a solo.
The point is, it's a
There
solo.
is a solo after the last chorus. There's a bit more
We're
where
not
it
talking about
comes
it. We're
from.
talking about
Yeah,
the first one, aren't we? I think we are. I don't know.
The second one, the proper solo.
I'm a drunken.
But anyway, just real bit of fun. And you can tell the band, when they recorded it, they were probably fucking having the time of their lives. They're probably off their head on fucking whatever drugs they were taking at the time. And you can tell they're all off their nut and just going, when they listened back to it, they must have all been going fucking high as. It's just a very high song. It's a very high solo. And the solo is, Dave Navarro is one of my favorite guitar players of all time.
He's good.
He's doing his like hair metal thing, but it's not
It's
over
very
the top.
unique solo. He has got a very unique style, and you can tell.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter if it's
really
complicated.
unique.
I always find it strange because
it's restrained.
Dave Navarro became the guitarist 5 years after this in Red Hot Chili Peppers, and famously he didn't really get on with being in that band because funk wasn't his thing.
Yeah, they recorded One Hot Minute, and that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I find it really hard. That doesn't really sit with me because I listened to this album by Jay's Addiction, and his strength for me is the rhythm playing. It's about how he controls the rhythm throughout the song, and
He's a great rhythm player.
Similar to Smashing Pumpkins song. I really, really like the song. I mean, for me, this is like White Lines Don't Do It by Grandmaster Flash meets Blood Sugar Sex Magic. 12 months before Blood Sugar Sex Magic by Chili Peppers comes out. It's really, really cool song. And it almost kickstarts the 90s, this song. But for me, it's not the solo that it makes this song good. It's his rhythm playing and Perry Farrell.
Yes. When you look at Dave Navarro's solo playing, he's very rhythmic.
Yeah.
With his solo playing. His solo playing is on point. It's like he's on the one.
Yeah, he's not really into funk. He comes across as one of the strongest and most funky rhythm players around this time in alternative rock. I prefer Dave Navarro to John Frusciante. I think he's a better guitar
of course,
player.
yeah. Far superior.
I disagree. Before we continue on this discussion, just because you mentioned it, can we put Grandmaster Flash The Message on Undeniable Bangers?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess we can do that.
Yes, done.
Dan, you're right. Navarro is a far superior guitar player to John Frusciante. And this is wrong. It's because he's not just a great rock player. He does like that. He's really into the Cure and the 80s post-punk thing. He does ambient guitar really well. Ritual Del Habitual is one of the greatest albums of all time. And I will fucking lay my cross on that hill.
I prefer the first album.
It's fucking just...
John
John
Frusciante's better.
Weirdly, Dave Navarro's best stuff has often come outside of both the Red Hot Chili Peppers, because he played the guitar on Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
Only one song, though.
Yeah, You Ought to Know, isn't it?
Yes, You Ought to Know. And didn't he play on a Christina Aguilera song as well?
Yes, he's also played with like Kanye West and all that. He's amazing.
This particular solo is very in the pentatonic, which I was never going to love it. I do like the song a lot. I like the album a lot. I like their album before this a lot. I like their album after this a lot less.
I'm not a Jane's Addiction fan after Ritual. Ritual was their open.
Couple of decent moments on Strays.
To be fair, Ritual pretty much invented alternative rock.
No, I would argue Murmur by R.E.M. Next up is my choice, and this one is the oldest track on tonight's list. In a little bit of a departure, I've gone for a particular live performance of a song. The original studio track was from 1967, but in this instance, it was recorded live at the Royal Albert Hall in 1969 by the original band. That original band is the Jimi Hendrix Experience. So you all know that it's Jimi Hendrix. This solo serves as the song's coda. It's only a few seconds long. The live version extends it by a couple of extra bars and gives it a chance to resolve. And that's why I like it a little bit more. The song itself is Little Wing. It launched 1,000 covers, covered from everyone from Stevie Ray Vaughan, Derek and the Dominoes, Sting, The Cause, and many more. Yeah, Little Wing for me is, I think it may be my favorite guitar solo ever, simply because I think it launched the idea of the beautiful guitar solo within.
This is an easy one to discuss, isn't it? It's basically, do you think Jimi Hendrix was good at soloing? Yes. Is this one of his great solos? Yes.
It's the best one.
That's it. Like, everyone agrees Jimi Hendrix was good. Tom might not, but
I like Jimi Hendrix.
I'm not sure.
I grew up listening. My mum used to have Electric Ladyland Part 1 and 2, and I used to have to listen to it all the time. I think Jimi Hendrix is massively underrated as a vocalist.
I can't believe you just said that, because I was literally going to say that, but when you finished talking, his vocals were insanely good.
Yeah, I think he's possibly. I really love the way he plays guitar because it's very fluid, and the transitions into when he does transition into a solo, it's a very fluid transition because of the fluidity in which he plays.
It's organic, isn't it?
It doesn't,
yeah.
When Jimi Hendrix solos, his guitar playing is all one solo. It's just whether he sings over the top or
I
not,
agree.
basically. It doesn't feel like somebody tacked a solo in the middle of the song. It sounds like just stopped singing and his guitar's taken over for a bit. Like this song's a great example of that. His guitar part is always doing something. It's like his guitar part on All Along the Watchtower. Yes, you've got the intro bit that everybody knows, but he carries on doing something very similar to that the whole way through.
Yeah, it's all the flourishes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just flourishes everywhere, and he never sits and strums a chord really, apart from there's a few moments on like Hey Joe, for example, where he does that, but very rarely does he do that. That's someone else's job. We can't have a list of great solos without Hendrix on it, can we?
No.
You know, you could pick any song of his, basically.
I mean, this is the shortest
one of them
conversation
would have to make
of the podcast. It's really good. It's
Undeniable banger.
Yeah, I think it is.
Everything he's got an undeniable banger, to be honest.
Yeah, but we're
really
specifically talking about this one, Alex.
Yeah, it's great. It's brilliant.
Martin.
Me?
Yeah.
I've only got 2 words. Jimi Hendrix.
The most anticlimactic 2 words ever. Yes, that's the name of the artist that we're discussing. Could you
Pretty deep.
expound on
That
that,
was
please?
deep. That was deep. That was Jimi
No.
Hendrix.
Who
Will
else
you
could
allow-
say anything about Jimi
You
Hendrix?
allow Little Wing as an undeniable banger?
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I listened to all 3 Jimi Hendrix Experience albums and Band of Gypsies as well, which is a solo album. But I don't love any of his records because I think there's a lot of filler on all 3 of them. But when he is good, he is untouchable. And
When he was playing, 'cause he was very live centric. It was more like fusion of music. It wasn't. It wasn't album music at the time. It was just
because he was so much of a pioneer in this kind of music. It was almost like he was inventing it as he was recording it. Because he died before the 70s, we didn't get to see what the rest of his career would be. We didn't get to see him in his quote unquote wanky phase.
He would have got there. Trust me, he would have.
He could well have got there. It's fascinating to look at that the albums 2 in 67 and 1 in 68. And then it's just a fascinatingly short period of time and he was gone. He's left us with all these incredible gems that influenced so much after it that it's impossible to look at them in the same manner that you do other songs because it's almost like the inception of.
It's very telling. It's the same. It's the same as the first 2 Black Sabbath albums. It's the same thing as the first 3 Deep Purple albums. There are some albums which never sound dated, and anything Jimi Hendrix did is just never dated. It just sounds great.
An undeniable banger there from Jimi Hendrix, Little Wing. Could This Be Love was my other choice. If I had to pick a Hendrix song, Could This Be Love is I think my favorite Jimi Hendrix Experience track. But this one is just. It would sound like butterflies are coming from the headstock, and I love it. So we'll go on to our final track of this evening, Tom's choice. You may have been listening along and listening to the playlist. Firstly, you'll notice that we included Jim's and Dan's picks. It sounded nice. Completed the playlist quite well. But you'll notice that at the very end of the playlist, there is a song from Yes, who are one of Tom's favourite bands. It's a bit of a more...
I wouldn't go that far. They're my favourite prog band.
Okay. I stand corrected, said the man in orthopedic shoes. But this is a more subtle end to the playlist. It's the quietest song on tonight's list to bring the episode to a close. From 1971 on the massively successful album Fragile, this is British prog rock band Yes. They are in spotlight thanks to Tom. This is Steve Howe's penultimate song for the record. It's called Mood for a Day. It's essentially an instrumental piece that's inspired by medieval folk music that serves as a counterpoint alongside Rick Wakeman's Brahms excerpts earlier on the album, but it complements Chris Squire's heavy bass grooves that found on tracks Boundabout, for instance. And I really like this. It's a nice little way to end. It's not a traditional guitar solo, but Tom is right by the technical sense, as it is just a guitar playing a melody without any accompaniment from other instruments. It is a guitar solo, so I can't really say you're wrong. And I do like it. Good.
Yeah, I thought I'd troll you all. So this Fragile by Yes, it's a great album. And each of the members has a song that's just them. So like Chris Squire has The Fish, Steve Howe has this one, Rick Wakeman has Cans and Brahms.
Yeah.
John Anderson, is it We Have Heaven? Is that the one? Is that John Anderson's one? I think it's something like that. They all have their own. Each of them takes a turn to have their own song.
It's a great
and
record.
it is a fantastic album. Absolutely love Heart of the Sunrise. Trolling you all with my picks, and this is like the ultimate troll when picking guitar solos because it's the only true guitar solo on this list. There you go. A guitar playing a piece.
It is truly solo.
It is truly solo, and it's very well played the whole way
Yeah.
through. Like Steve Howe's a fantastic guitarist. It's a guitar solo. It's on the list. It should probably be on the list.
Exactly what Tom said. It's a nice bit of guitar. It's fucking well played. It's awesome. It's played by somebody who obviously knows exactly what they're doing. And do you know what? As a guitar player, it's my ultimate dream to know what I'm doing on guitar. And I often don't.
It tends to help, actually. I've heard that.
I know. And I often don't. I tend to just go by instinct or whatever. But you can tell with a guitar solo like this, you know that person knows exactly what they're doing. They're locked in with themselves, their own technique, their own musical ability, their own musical knowledge on all of those things. And I rarely have that myself. And I would love to have that one day just to go, I know exactly what I'm doing.
The fact is, it's all played clean as well. There's no distortion or anything. What you hear is what he's actually playing. There's no shit fret burst where there shouldn't be. He plays it impeccably.
Done on an acoustic.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the sort of thing I would personally consider guitar solo. I'm a fan of 80s excess, but yeah, it's good. It's just good. You listen, you go, wow, that's very impressive. Would I just listen to it as part of an album? I'm sure it's amazing, but I would never listen to it by itself. It's almost like the sort of thing your guitar teacher would tell you to, it will show you to see how you can, to get your picking as clean as possible.
It reminds me of a bard from medieval times, similar to Dandelion from The Witcher or something like that, based around folklore. I like that. And if you have been listening along with the playlist, it does round off our playlist tonight wonderfully well, capping it off with just a little.
I think November Rain's
a little flourish to it, and
or Stairway.
So that was our debate on the merit of guitar solos and individual guitar solos within songs, some good examples. One last thing before we do depart this evening and wrap up for the night. What are we going to cover next?
Oh, we have discussed this, haven't we? We've got to do most overrated bands. That is a recipe for arguments, and that's what's going to be fun.
Can I just say, if one of you mentions Radiohead, I'm out of the podcast.
I'm coming for some of your bands. Like grunge era in the 90s is rife with overrated bands. And I'm coming.
Let's just make sure that, because we're doing a negative episode, let's just make sure it's constructive and it's just not, it's not going to be too.
Why not? Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? The whole fun is the argument.
Like anything.
I need it's shit, but why?
Oh,
not
yeah,
it
of
just
course.
It's shit, and also the other one.
Hatred doesn't just drop out of a tree.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't just drop out of the sky. We all fucking hate stuff because we give you our in-depth reasons.
Can I just put this out there?
Go on.
Linkin Park was shit.
Yeah, I like them.
We'll get on to this on the episode. Yeah, we'll see you in our most overrated bands and acts episode. We hope you've enjoyed this one. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. Make sure you check out cacophonysessions.com. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/the cacophony sessions.
Bye, everyone.
We'll see you soon.
Bye,
Make sure
Sweden.
you stay funky.